Hey guys, it's May May, and today we are doing 4 Halloween treat bags. So if you saw my video on Monday, I was showing you my new stamp set, which is called Pumpkinhead. And by the way, it's sold out, but it's coming back. I have reordered it. And I asked you guys which of those treat bags you'd like to see. Well, they all were pretty popular, so we're going to do all the treat bags and the card. So it's 3 treats and a card. So we're going to start with the card. Here we go. I went ahead, because this is probably going to be a fairly long video, went ahead and did some prep work, but I'm still going to show you and tell you everything and give you the measurements and all that good stuff. Alright, so the first thing, I'm going to move stuff out of the way so I can pull it up in order. How about that? The first thing we're going to do is start with an A2 card base. This is a piece of paper that is actually an 8.5 by 11 that I've cut in half to create our A2 card base. I cut it in half the long way, so it's 4 1/4 wide, and then it's still 11 tall. So we're going to score it at 5.5, just like that, and that'll give us our score line for folding our card. And this becomes the card base. Just crease that down. Now my original card I did with a side open, so it opened on this side. And notice the colors here, we're going to do totally different ones. I thought it'd be fun to do something different because I showed you this one and I thought let's do the same thing but in different colors. So this is a purple, we call this damask around here, but I think some people call it damask. I don't know how to say it, but you know, it's paper. So I'm going to use this purple, and I just think I think purples and greens and all that are perfect for like Halloween or for even for fall. Fall I always think of orange, so that's why we're doing an orange card base. So I'm going to put this guy down, and I want to tell you what I did on this card. I played with mats and borders and text like patterns and things like that. Like notice how small this little border is that I'm doing on this card. It's not a very big border. That's on purpose. So I have a tiny edge. So basically my mat is cut 1/8 of an inch smaller. Now I want to add another strip to give it some interest and kind of break up the middle. And I'm doing 2. I'm going to stack these on top of each other like so. And I cut them almost exactly the same width as the mat piece. Not the card itself, but the mat piece. They might be a tiny bit longer, but not enough to really tell. So here's what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to take this smaller piece. Ooh, that's pretty, but it'd be too busy, so I'm going to glue that side down here. I'm going to glue it on top of the strip, and this is going to kind of create the frame for our pumpkins. It's going to be what makes them stand out. So I'm going to glue this down. Again, just using that tiny 1/16 inch of a border around it. You can see that tiny orange border. That's what you get when you cut it in the paper 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. Now this piece I popped up on the front of the card, so we're going to do that too. And I'm just going to use some of my dimensional foam here. So I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces off here. So stick this one here and this one here and put this on the front. Alright, then just decide. You can put it high, low. Oops, I can't put it on yet. Almost messed up already. Ha ha. That's what I get for prepping. You know, anytime I do things prepped, I mess up. So this is the sentiment that I'm using. This sentiment is from my stamp set called Bushel and a Peck, and that is in stock now. We just got that one back, and it says Howdy Pumpkin on there. And so what I did was I actually punched this out using this Fiskars 2-inch scallop square punch. So I punched that, and then I just cut another square to fit behind it so that it just kind of peeks out around the edges and puts a little orange. I mean, it is exactly 2 inch by 2 inch, so you just get that little peak of orange showing. So I'm going to glue this onto here. And really, you should do this before you put your dimensional down on your strip. I should have thought about this ahead of time, but anytime I pre-do, like prep for a video, I always mess up, so I apologize. Alright, so now I'm going to have to do some fancy footwork. Maybe not. I'll just add some adhesive back there. So, here's what we did over here on this card. Okay, I have that little strip, and I'm going to place this here to pick it up to see where I want it to go. Something about like that. I'm going to let this dimensional foam pick it up. So somewhere in that area, and now I can just kind of straighten it. You won't have to do this because you're going to glue this straight to your strip before you put your dimensional piece down, okay? But since I messed up, that's how I'll fix it. And then back here, I'm just going to add some adhesive. It'll still be popped up, and then I'll use that other strip to hold that other piece to hold it in place. All right, so now we're going to put this guy down. I'm going to put him right to this edge here, and then right to that edge there. And just, oops, I forgot I'm using wet glue over there. See, I told y'all. Okay, I should have just built it as we went. All right, so now we've got Howdy Pumpkin, and we've got the place for our pumpkins to go. It's going to be really cute. Now let's talk about the pumpkins. Okay, these pumpkins are from the new set, which is called Pumpkinhead. I'm going to show you that set real quick. It is sold out, but it is coming back. I did a rush order yesterday, so I hope to have these back in stock hopefully next week, but I will let you guys know. So what I did was I took the pumpkin and I stamped it onto pattern paper, which I think is a pretty thing to do. Let me show you. So this is a piece of yellow pattern paper, and I'm using this VersaFine ink in black. Is it black onyx? What is this one called? Onyx Black. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm in love with this ink, except for the fact that I'm having to get used to letting it dry, because I'm not used to letting ink dry, because I normally use Memento and it dries, you know, so quick. So before you cut this guy out, you have to let it dry. But see how that looks when you stamp it on the pattern paper? It's so pretty. So that's what I did here, and I did it earlier to let it dry so we could cut it out together. Now notice I've cut 2 out already just to get us going, but I wanted to cut one out with you guys watching so you can see. Now what I try to do when I create my stamps is I try to create the outside lines to be very simple for your fussy cutting. I love to fussy cut. I also love dies, and we're in talks about dies. My issue with bringing dies to the table is they're so expensive, and they're so expensive to sell them to you guys too. But I know you love them, and I know you want them, so we're going to try to get them to you. But in the meantime, I try very hard to make sure that my stamp edges are done in such a way that you can just kind of do real simple cuts and get a good look, not a die cut look, but a paper piece look. So there's that part. And then just like this stem, which you think would be really hard to cut out, nope, here's what you do. You come in from one side and cut out this portion. Let that fall. Come in from underneath and cut out this top portion. Okay? And then come from here and cut out. And that, I try to make it super simple to cut these out for you guys. So that's not bad. This is something, if you want to make a bunch of these cards, you could sit down, maybe watch a movie and get a whole bunch of them done. So now we've got 3 from different pattern papers, which I think are so pretty. And they're going to go right on the front of our card. Again, I popped these up, and I used this thick foam because I wanted them to be really predominant on my card. So I kind of prepped them ahead of time by go ahead and putting the dimensional on the back like this. I want to show you something too. Say you stamp the front, okay, and then you cut it out. You can flip this over and use the back if you'd rather have that stem going in another direction. Isn't that cute? All right, so get some more foam. And another piece. All right, so I've got double the dimension on this card because you got it here, and then you're also going to have it on the front. Now, what I did to get these lined up, I did not measure because y'all know I don't measure. I took one pumpkin and put it right to the edge here where the green is. Right to the edge and centered it top to bottom, okay? Then I took a second pumpkin and put it right to the edge on the opposite side and centered it top to bottom. And that one's not quite centered. Let me take it up a little bit. About like that, okay? And then I put the middle one in. And they just about touch. I mean, they are really close, but I love them. So then I just put this guy on, just like that. Love those 3 pumpkins. All right, and it's got to have a little bit of bling. So I took a Wink of Stella brush pen. This is the, which one is this one? This is clear, and I just colored these dudes. Now you got to be a little careful because the ink that you're using might smear if you're not careful. So be easy on those edges where the ink is. And you don't really have to coat these in the Wink of Stella. You can just kind of hit it and you still get the sparkle. Just kind of go at it a little bit. I just thought that was cute. You probably cannot even see the Wink of Stella on camera, but in person you can. So that's the card. Super simple, and I like using all of these different patterns to do it. It feels kind of patchworky to me. What do you think? Kind of patchwork? I love it. All right, let's move on. Now this little guy was popular. A lot of people liked him. He's the little M&M holder matchbox, and I'll show you how he works. So there's an M&M stapled in there, a little package of M&Ms, and he's a little matchbox treat. I'm going to show you how I did that one. Now, he starts with several pieces of paper and a pumpkin. This pumpkin I stamped, and then I used the faces to give him the little mask, and I did some Spectrum Noir coloring. Now, some of you guys had asked me to do a tutorial on the coloring. Because this video is going to be so long anyway, we'll do that in another video, but that'll come too. So there's my pumpkin ready to go, and I cut him out by hand, and then I have these pieces. Now, let me tell you the dimensions. This piece you're going to start with is going to be 7 3/4 by 3 inches if you're using the same candy I am. I'm using these little fun size M&Ms that came in a pack with them and Snickers and some other stuff. And so I just measured the width of them, and so that's how we're doing that. Then these pieces are just going to be dependent on what you want on the front. Okay, so this piece, which is the first mat that will go down, is 2 7/8 by 3 1/8 because it's just a little bit bigger than this piece. So then this piece that goes on top is going to be 2 3/4. Should be by 3. So that'll go on top of there. And then this is a 1 inch wide strip by 3 inches. It's the same width as this dude. So I'll show you how all that works. First, we need to do a little bit of scoring. Now for scoring, you're going to first score at 1 inch. Okay. Then you're going to score at 4 1/4. And then at 4 3/4. In my original sample, I did a little gusset at the bottom where the M&M is, and it really doesn't need it. So I've done away with it for this. This is all you'll need to do. 1 inch, 4 1/4, 4 3/4, and that's it. Okay? Now, to do the folding and things. So we're going to fold this flap up. This 1 inch flap becomes the bottom of the Matchbox holder. And then the top, these two pieces are kind of the gusset for the M&Ms to sit in. So here you can see the beginnings of our Matchbox holder. See that? Okay. Now what I do, I'm going to go ahead and put this stuff on the front before we put our M&Ms in. Okay, for the top piece where the pumpkin is going to sit, I made my own designer paper. Let me show you what I did. And I'm going to use Memento for this because we're kind of going fast and I don't want to smear that ink. I took the tiny piece of candy, one of the tiny pieces of candy from the Sweet Stuff stamp set, also available in the store. And this one, I took it and I just went all over this piece of paper, just stamping this little piece of candy everywhere around. So I'm just making like candy paper. You wouldn't have to do this. This is just something I wanted to do to play with the stamps because I love to stamp. I don't know what it is. It's just so gratifying to pick up this block with a little stamp on it and go to town. I just love it. So I just stamped this little piece of candy all over the place. Like so. Leaving some spots between because then I went back with the next tiny piece of candy. Let me get it off too. And I used it. I should be using a smaller block, but I just grabbed this one. I used it, and then in between, I just stamped the tiny candy. It is so cute. I love this little piece of candy. There's 2 larger sizes in the stamp set too of this same candy. So you get 2 larger sizes, 2 smaller, so you could even mix it up with sizes if you wanted to. And just stamp it wherever you want it. You don't have to worry too much about the center because that's where your pumpkin's going to be. And you can fill it as much as you want or as little as you want. It's your paper. Let's put this one here. And then I'm going to bring another one. Just a part of one. I do like to stamp off the page as well. I think that that makes it look more like designer paper. Alright then. Ready to assemble. So I'm going to take this guy. First let me clean this ink off my work surface. So now we are ready to assemble. So I'm going to add glue to the back of this page. Or this little piece. I did not put any dimensional on the front of this one as far as the mats are concerned. I do pop the pumpkin up, but these I did not. And then I'm just going to lay this on top of that orange piece, again, with just a 1/16 piece of orange showing, just to give it a little border. Let me show you that up close. See that? So that's that piece. And then this goes right here, just like so. And this has a very tiny mat as well, because I just wanted very little of that to show. I wanted that front to be mostly the little paper we made. So somehow in my measurements I told you wrong on the end and it overlaps a little bit. I'm not going to stress, I'm just going to cut this off. So if yours, when you're making yours, it looks like you might want to measure it, maybe cut that front piece a little smaller, but if not, just do what I just did because that's not going to show anyway. So if that happens to you when you're making yours, just trim that little bottom piece off because you're not going to see it. Alright, now let's do our stamping for our little strip here. In my original sample, I used the sentiment from the Sweet Stuff stamp set that said, "A little treat for someone sweet." In this one, I'm going to use the one that says, "Just for you." I think that'll be cute. So I'm just going to stamp this dude right here. So that'll say just for you. That'll be super cute. Alright, so we got that ready to go. Now let's put our M&Ms in because we're going to staple them in. Okay, so at this point you're going to put your M&Ms into the thing, and I brought my stapler out so we can do it. I'm going to fold this little bottom edge up just to make sure it fits really well in my container, and then I'll put it in and fold that 1-inch flap on top of it. Okay, and I've pushed the M&Ms up so they're kind of out of my way, and then I'm just going to come to the very bottom, as far down as I can get, grabbing the M&Ms and the container, and staple. So now my M&Ms are in there and they're not going anywhere. Okay, and then I can push this guy right underneath there, and we have our little Matchbox treat. Now I want to add this to the front, and this hides your staple, which I think is super cute. And I'm using some wet glue because I want to make sure it stays on real good, and this is some art glitter glue I know will stick down quick and be there for me. So just glue this guy on. Now you don't have to cut this to the exact size of this front piece. You can have a little strip showing of the back side or whatever. I just thought this was super cute to have the two colors. Alright, so there's that. Now let's put our pumpkin on. A little bit of foam tape right on the back. And all I did with him was put him in the center. You can put him straight. I'm going to put him crooked this time. So check him out. How cute is that? I think he's super cute. And by the way, my friend Julianne really loved this one, and I wanted to make sure I said hello to her today. So Julianne, what do you think? Let me know if you make these. Super cute. All right, on to number 3. All right, number 3 is this super cute little treat bag. It's clear with the candy showing in it, and then I have the little topper made for it. So let's do the topper first. All right, for your topper, you're going to want to cut it the width of whatever bag you're going to use and enough to fold it over in half. Now, I've actually done mine a little longer than it should be because I'm going to use a border punch. So I added 1 inch to the bottom length I needed so I could do the border punch. So mine ended up being 4.5 by 5. That's how long mine is. We need to score it first. Now, my fold is only going to be at 2 inches. So it would only take a 4-inch strip to fold in half and be the topper of that bag. So I'm going to score this at 2 inches, and that's what will actually fold over my bag. This will make sense when I do the border punching. Let me do that real quick. So you can use any border punch you want. I'm going to use this big old scallopy one because I think I really am in love with it. Now, let me show you this too. I'm going to start on the front so I can center the scallops by looking at where they're landed. I'm just eyeball centering them. Then if you want to turn your punch over, you can, or you can just keep using the front, because you can also line these up from the inside. I mean, from the underneath. You can also see what you're doing down there too. Alright, oop, missed a little bit. Let's do that a little bit more. There we go. Get rid of this, and that is going to be our topper portion for the bag. Now we need to fill our bag up with some candy. So these are some candies I'm using. They just come in a multi-pack, and I just purchased those at Wally World. And I'm going to open the top of this bag and put these inside. Now you can decorate, you can, put stuff in here. You could put those little toys. Like if you didn't want to do candy, you could do little toy treats. I've done those for birthday parties before for my boys. And you can do these themed for birthday parties. Super cute if you do that. I think I did a Minecraft one time. I don't remember what the theme was, but I remember making these candy bags. So, and they're perfect for classroom treats. Alright, so then drop your little candies in there, any old way you want them. And the top is going to get stapled on. You want to go ahead and fold that at your score mark. The reason you want to go ahead and staple this on is because we're going to decorate on top of the staples and kind of hide them. So I'm just going to slip this onto the top of my candy bag. And I'm lining that candy bag all the way up to the fold. You do whatever you need to based on your bags. Okay? And then bring the stapler over. And I use 2 staples. Just like that to hold it on. So now when they pick it up, it's not falling apart. And now we just decorate this part. Okay, so the first thing I did was I found this black chevron that I love. Again, I didn't use any dimensional on this one. Nope, I put this straight down. I had to look at it to make sure. And this piece is going to get glued straight to the top so that little scallop sticks out at the bottom. You can do so many things with these. If you will look online at some of these little treat bags, if you have a Cricut, you can cut little animals out and put on here. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can make these themed for weddings. You could make this elegant and put something beautiful inside, some beautiful mints or candies. And nowadays you can get mints printed with like the bride and groom's name. That'd be so pretty. All right, so that part's ready. Let's assemble the other part. Now on my original treat bag, I used this little pumpkin that I made with the scallop circle. What I did was I did an orange circle and then a green scallop punch, okay? So this is a 1 3/4 inch orange circle punch. This is a 2-inch scallop punch. And I used that same pumpkin head set to do his face with, okay? All right, so I made a couple of these. I like this little guy's expression, this kind of I'm not sure why I'm here expression, so we're going to use him today. The only other thing I did, because I wanted this to pop really well off of this treat bag, is I took a white scallop circle and this green circle, I offset them from each other so that in between the scallops you see the white showing, because I thought that was pretty and it kind of made it pop. So I just took some glue on the back of this white. It's the same size scallop circle. It's not bigger. And then when you put this down, you just kind of offset it a little bit so that those white circles show beside the green ones. I just think that kind of helps it to pop. It's almost like the stitching that I did on the front. And I did some stitching on his face and some white pen and stuff like that, just to play around. Little baker's twine bow at the top. Okay, now he sits on top of a banner with a sentiment on it. So let me see which one I want to use for this guy. For the first one I made, I used the sentiment something yummy for your tummy. For this one, I'm going to use the sentiment sweet treats for you. And I just came out here to the side and stamped. I do not think I inked that guy up good, but we'll see. That's alright. The paper's textured too, so sometimes you get that little texture in there. Alright, and now I did a little banner tag down here on the end, so little slit in and then go to the slit. From the corner to that slit in the middle will give you that banner edge. Just like that. And then this gets glued straight down to the top of your bag. Make sure that your length is okay, because I noticed when I did mine, yeah, that's going to work. See how it's right to the edge? You might be hanging off a little bit. Just check, just do a little measurement for what you want there. Then we're just going to glue this little banner right down to our treat bag, to the top. And I'm centering this on that piece I just put down, the chevron piece, so that's how I'm lining that one up. Alright, so there's that. And then lastly, we're just going to put this little guy on. And because I put foam tape between the pumpkin and the green, I did not put foam tape on him when I put him down. I just put some glue on the back and glued him straight down to the bag. Pretty cute, huh? I think he worked out really, really well. And super cute. So now I have 2 treat bags. Who am I giving these to? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But they are super cute. I guess my 2 younger boys would not hate getting these. Alright, on to the last one. So this is the next treat bag we're going to make. And listen, this is May stepping out of her comfort zone because she doesn't usually do frilly. And I think this is pretty frilly for me. These are those treat bags I picked up from Walmart. These are from the wedding collection. They had 2. These polka dotted ones and they had these wood grain ones. And I fell in love with them. So I picked up 2 packs of those. So that's what we're going to use today. And because I did wood grain the first time, we're going to do polka dots this time. Alright, the first thing I do is put candy in. Again, the candy's up to you. The treat is up to you. You could put cookies in here. That would be super cute if you're a cookie baker. You can do anything you want inside of these little bags. These remind me of the Halloween bags when we were kids, the paper bags. So then once you have that in there, what you want to do is just fold the top of your bag down. And I fold it with the flap to the front to give it even more, interest at the front. So now that bag is ready to be decorated. Now for the top of the bag, once you've got it folded, I'm using one of these doilies that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. This is a craft colored doily. And all I did was wrap it around the top of the bag, kind of not even half, just a little bit at the top, and then put 1 staple. And that's what's closing the bag, okay? So you just wrap that and staple it. And then we build all the pretties. Okay, so I have this pretty piece of paper here that I'm going to make be the banner that's going to wrap over the top. And the way I'm going to do that is just to cut a slit in the center here and then go from one corner to the middle. Oh, didn't quite make the middle there. Like so. And then from the other corner to the middle. So that gives us that pretty little banner. And so that I'm just going to wrap around the bag just like this. And I'm actually not going to staple that in place. That's just going to be there. Now the back, I'd left this one pretty long so I could trim it where I want it. That's a little too long. I'm going to trim it down just so that it's right at where that doily is. Don't need that much length, so just cut it to the length you need. So that just sits there like that. Now what holds this on is a little tiny clothespin. This is a little black clothespin I think is so cute. So that holds that into place just like that. Now then, what I did for decoration on this one is I took 2 hearts. I just punched these from some punches I have. This is a 2-inch scallop heart punch, and this is a 2.5-inch regular heart punch. And then I stamped it with Sweet Stuff, which is from the September club set. That's this one. So I stamped it that way, and then I'm just going to glue. I put a little dimensional here, but I've tore this and had to take it off and redo it when my camera died a second ago. So I'm just going to glue this one with some wet glue down now to just stick that into place. Alright, now then, I, on my original, took some baker's twine and wrapped it around. And at first it's going to look funny because see how it's going over the top? What I do is I stick this underneath that punched piece, okay? So it's laying underneath our little hearts, and then I'm going to tie a bow. Just a simple bow. Alright, and that one is a little long there, but we'll just doctor it up. And there you go. That's all there is to that one. Isn't that super simple and cute? I love the way that one looks. So you can make this one for just about anything. Super simple. So here you go, guys. These are the 4 that we made today, the 3 treats and the little fall themed card. I hope you enjoyed this, and since everybody was interested in all of them, I thought I'd just go ahead and do them. Now, if you're interested in any of the stamp sets that we use, check out my store. Like I said, the pumpkin will be back, but for now, you can still get the sweet treat set. It's available. And if you're not familiar with the Stamp Club, there's a link below to give you more information about that. But for $11.99 a month with no shipping, you get this stamp set sent to you. You guarantee you get one before they sell out. And you get free shipping on anything else you purchase in the store. So go check that out, Stamp Club. And I will talk to you guys on Friday. Sneak peek, we're probably going to be doing mercury glass. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.